Our first guest is part of the ethical tourism movement, which seeks to improve the places we visit. Her work at the SPCA provides a voice to speak for animals here at home, but she is also working to improve the plight of animals in distant places. Please welcome Rosemary Conger.
So being with an elephant like this is truly magical. Yet understanding and learning about the issues they face in Thailand has shown me a level of horror I don't think I'll ever be able to comprehend. Tonight I won't be speaking about the genocide that is taking place right now in Africa, where an elephant is killed every 15 minutes for its ivory. But I will be speaking about the battle I believe elephants are losing in Thailand. Let me introduce you to one of my BFFs, June. June and I have spent a lot of time together. I sat and watched her rest in the wee hours of the night. I watched her overcome her fear of water as she entered the lake. I made games for her to play with out of hay and fruit. I helped clean her wounds. I took her for walks in the jungle. I helped clean her enclosure, and you all know what that means. I scrubbed her water bowl, made bushels and bushels of food for her. And I would call her by name and she would come, and I caressed her cheek as often as I could. This is me feeding June by hand directly into her mouth. She is 71 years old and has no teeth. I learned that June spent the first 45 years of her life enslaved, dragging logs in a logging camp, and then the next 20 years of her life carrying tourists on her back. And then when she was considered to no longer be useful, she was tied to a tree and abandoned. She was found 18 months later, and this was the day she was rescued. Elephants face one hell of an unfair fight in Thailand. Archaic and unenforced laws certainly do not protect them. Religious and cultural traditions cause them immeasurable suffering, and zoos and circuses around the world continue to support their capture and export. One of the things I learned about volunteering with elephants is really how much they have in common with us. It was remarkable. So elephants actually have deep emotional bonds with their friends, family, and extended family. They touch to greet each other very much like we shake hands. They look after their young and their injured and wounded. They flirt, they grieve, and they also play jokes on each other. One of the things I also learned is I think in many ways elephants are way better than us. They can communicate infrasonically and seismically kilometers away. They always smell fantastically fruity. They have an immense capacity to remember, and I hope forgive. So fundamental to understanding the problem is understanding the difference between domestic and wild animals. Domestic animals, dogs for example, are bred over centuries, over generations. We have selected the characteristics that we desire, so responsive, retrieving, floppy ears, gentle-natured, and so dogs have actually been changed at the genetic level to want and be with us. Elephants, wild animals, completely different story. In cases like, for example, with elephants, the mother is often killed, the baby is captured and tamed until she's broken, and then put to work for the rest of her life. Yet, the cycle repeats itself, fresh, if you will, each time. So elephants are not designed to be with us. They're not meant to be with us. They are meant to be with their own kind. So since elephants don't have the genetic predisposition, like dogs do, to be with us, elephants in Thailand undergo a barbaric process called Foshan. I unfortunately can say that I have witnessed some of this myself. It is a traditional method of taming elephants where it's tormented and tortured for days and weeks until its spirit is broken. And then these elephants develop, young elephants have a post-traumatic stress disorder type of fear that stays with them their entire lives. So I've also learned that tourism, very much echoing what Sam was saying earlier, that tourism has increased by nearly 6,000% since 1967 to Thailand. So with that massive influx of visitors is a massive increase in demand for elephant entertainment. Elephant rides, elephant trekking, and elephant art shows, elephant orchestras, elephant soccer games, elephant dance performances, and ultimately elephant suffering. So just because you don't see the suffering doesn't mean it isn't happening. These are really happy elephants. I just wanted to say, though, that you don't see the suffering, but it is there. And I honestly, I think that we love elephants so much, we don't realize we're enslaving them. We say we enjoy them, but yet we're completely shattering their lives. So, and I value their complexity, sensitivity, and freedom far more than an hour of my entertainment, and I hope after tonight you will too. So great sanctuaries like this are places where elephants can live and roam freely, they can socialize, they can exhibit natural behaviors, and they don't have to worry about living in fear of performances. And this is one of the places where I volunteered. Since elephants have lost their ability to fend for themselves and care for themselves in the wild, they need a place like a sanctuary, which is like a middle ground where they can be cared for but yet have a more natural setting to live in. So I just want to quickly go through some do's and don'ts. And some of the don'ts is not fueling the demand for elephants' exploitation. So not riding them, not seeing them in a show, even a movie, and don't support street begging elephants as hard as it is to walk away. But do consider volunteering like I do, no special skills required. And go natural, see them in a setting, a natural setting, a park, a sanctuary, and ask questions. Are these animals being cared for well? Listen to your gut. If it feels wrong, it probably is. Tell your friends and check out righttourism.com. I just will end with saying that a little bit of change is happening. In fact, a sanctuary where I volunteered at, just at Christmas time, an elephant camp relinquished his elephants to the sanctuary, so there is a bit of change. Back to June. I was saying goodbye to June, and I was rubbing her cheek, and then I was a blubbering mess, and she pushed her trunk into me head to toe and forced my arms open, and I hugged her, and it was a goodbye I'll never forget. And she passed away April 15th, 2013. Though I travel very far to do this kind of work, one doesn't have to venture off in the jungle to make a difference in the lives of animals. I work at the BC SPCA when I'm not volunteering, and I'm part of an amazing team that is helping care for and protect animals in need. And actually, as I conclude, I thought I would introduce you to some of my friends from the office. So all of these guys are up for adoption, and they're just a small example of the amazing animals we have right here in our community that you can help. We have Bailey, Scout, and Nero, all at the West Vancouver branch up for adoption. So thank you so much, everybody.